About to go on a journey with Dr. Wilbert Mutoko, a dynamic global inspirational and leadership speaker, author, and change management coach. By the end of the minutes that follow, you will have received a relevant, practical, and functional step-by-step process to becoming a speaker that breaks new heights.
I count it a rare privilege to be here, and thank you so much to the leadership of the Toastmasters. I really appreciate the invitation. I don't take it for granted. I want to greet you, fellow colleagues, fellow speakers, and I would also want to welcome my fellow speakers from PSA SA who are here with us tonight. Now, I want to start by saying to us, what is worrying you in terms of your speaking business? What is worrying you in terms of your speaking business? Do you mind just posting in the chat? If possible, you can send the chat direct to me. Tell me what is worrying you. What is worrying you? What is bothering you? I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Still waiting. Right. Somebody says remembering a joke. Okay. Remembering a joke is worrying her. Okay. What about others? Making hand gestures, confidence and content. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Trying to engage with the audience. Just virtually. Okay, confidence and content virtually. Not making my point. Trying to engage with the audience. Forgetting to pause. Speaking really fast. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? The last person? What is worrying you? What is bothering you? Forgetting to pause. Speaking really fast. Okay, so I will take it that that's the last comment we are having there. Thank you so much for that engagement. Okay, somebody says organizing the thoughts is worrying them. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Let's continue. Somebody says anxiety. Anxiety is worrying them. So tonight I'm going to be talking on the 6 factors of successful change. 6 factors of successful change. According to John F. Kennedy, change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. Change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. That's John F. Kennedy. And Stephen Hawking said, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. That's Stephen Hawking. All right? So, change is inevitable. But why do most organizations avoid change? Why do we as individuals fear and also avoid change? Nobody chooses change, especially when it is painful, especially when it is stressful, maybe depressing or uncomfortable. We all want change if we are sure that this change is going to be positive. This change is going to be comfortable for us. Now, I'm going to share with you the story of the eagle. Maybe some of you have heard about it before, but there's no harm in hearing it again. Repetition is power. So please listen carefully to the story of the eagle. After sharing it with you, I will kindly ask you to write in a few words in the chat box as to what you have learned from the story. So the eagle has the longest lifespan of its species. It can live up to 70 years and in some cases up to 120 years. Now, the eagle is well known for laser focus. It can see from afar. It is known as the king or the queen of birds. The queen or the king of the air. Very strong bird. When there are storms, the eagle, while other birds are running to safety, the eagle will actually flap his or her wings in the midst of the storm. That's an eagle for you. But we need to understand that though an eagle lives 70 to 120 years, by the time the eagle reaches 40 years, the eagle's long, flexible claws can no longer grab a prey which serves as food. That's risky. Can you imagine? You get to a level where you can no longer grab food. You can't put food on the table. What will happen to you? What will happen to your children? What will happen to your family? What will happen to your future? Around the 40th birthday of the eagle, the claws are no longer good enough to catch prey. Its long and sharp beak becomes bent. It's no longer as sharp. It's no longer as it was before. So in other words, the eagle gets to a stage in life where he or she is now losing relevance, is now losing the tools of the trade. The claws are no longer effective. The beak is no longer effective. And then the old-aged and heavy wings that the eagle uses in the midst of storms. Now, due to the thick feathers, those wings, now the feathers, they stick to the chest and make it difficult to fly. Can you imagine if you were an eagle and that is happening to you? Then the eagle is left with only two options: either to die or to go through a painful process of change. Every eagle is faced with a decision, a very difficult decision, a very sacrificial decision. Do I just accept that at 40 I die? Or I can actually go through change, but there's something I need to do for me to go through this change. There's something I need to do. Guess what? The process of change takes about 5 months. Why does it take 5 months for the eagle to go through the change? The process requires the eagle to fly to a mountain top. That's a big ask. The eagle is expected to go up to the mountain top. We said that the wings are no longer as effective. How does that happen? It has to be a sacrifice. And then it has to sit on its nest. There, the eagle has to knock the beak against a rock until it plucks the beak out. That must be painful. Then the eagle will wait for the new beak to grow back. Please don't ask me what the eagle will be eating during that time. The eagle has to wait for the new beak to grow back, after which it will then pluck out its claws using the new beak. When its claws grow back, the eagle starts plucking its old-aged feathers. Remove the old-aged feathers that are causing the eagle no longer to be able to fly properly. And after this, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for another 30 to 80 more years. And in life, when we listen to stories, it only gets exciting when you get to the end of the story. The eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for 30 to 80 more years to make it 70 to 120 years. Now, it's your turn. What is your takeaway from the story of the eagle's rebirth? What is your takeaway from the story of the eagle's rebirth? All right, so let me see what you're going to post in the chat box. I see Joshua has got a question. Your hand is up. Is it a question or you want to tell us what you have learned? Okay, in the meantime, we can just be sending in. So Diane says, they make me think of the phoenix. Thank you so much, Diane. Others, what are you saying? Karen says, take courage to change, but worth it. Take courage to change, but worth it. Thank you so much, Karen, for that. Others, what did you pick from the story of the rebirth of the eagle? Dr. Mwamba says, the ego story for me is about accepting change as painful as it may be. Thank you, Dr. Mwamba. Accepting change as painful as it may be. Thank you so much. And then Jimo says, self-adapt. Self-adapt. Thank you, Jimo. And Maria says, we need to change to go ahead. We need to change to go ahead. Thank you so much, Maria. Anybody else still typing? Mulefi says, embrace change. Embrace change. Thank you, Mulefi, for that. Who else?
Yes,
Kelly says, change is painful, yet it can be turned around and become a beautiful thing. Thank you, Kay, for that. Change is painful, yet it can be turned around and become a beautiful thing. Wow. Vivek says, keep looking for options. Keep looking for options. Thank you, Vivek. And Tebofo says, change is an opportunity to grow. Thank you, Tebofo. Change is an opportunity to grow. Right? Anybody else still wants to type? I believe in interaction. I don't believe in coming here to tell you.
Yes, sir. I have something to say.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I was saying we need to be relevant for us, to grow, for us to, move with time. So even if you are an employee, you need to be relevant to the current times. If you are in a business, also you need to be relevant to the current times so that you can be at par with what your industry is moving at.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is that Joshua?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Joshua, for that. Thank you so much for that. And then we have Trash, who says change is about new beginnings and letting go of the old ways. Thank you, Trash. Please, you forgive me. I may not pronounce some of your names the proper way, but I'm sure next time I will do. So change is about new beginnings and letting go of the old ways, right? And then Gail says change is painful. We can rise above it. Change is what? Painful, but we can decide to rise above it. Thank you so much, Gail, for that. And we have Dennis, who says everything in life is a process and we have to be patient. Everything in life is a process and we have to be patient. Awesome stuff. I really appreciate all the contributions. I'm so glad that people were listening to that story. So the next time when you feel tired, the next time when you feel like giving up, the next time when you feel like, who am I to think that I can achieve something special in life? Who am I that I think I can reinvent myself during these COVID times? Who am I to think that my speaking business can pick up again? Just remember the story of the eagle. The eagle has to make a decision. Do I die or I reinvent? I see Claudio says, plant to harvest. Plant to harvest. It's easier and more interesting to join people who are harvesting. Sometimes not even harvesting. It's easier to join people who are already eating. You arrive when food is in the plates. And you just feel like, wow, I arrived the right time. I'm a good farmer. And you just wash your hands and join. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to plant for you to harvest. Thank you so much, Claudio, for that. Right, so let's go back to I told you that I want to talk about 6 factors that help you to have effective change. But because of time, I'm just gonna touch on 2. Number 1 is technology. Technology is big. Technology is the real deal. Right now, we are seated here and we are actually having a meeting. People in different places. We are seated here talking. We are seated here learning from each other. These days, you can coach people while you are seated in South Africa. You are coaching people in America. Somebody is in India. You are having a meeting with developers who are across the world. It's possible because of technology. So, at first, people would actually hire, when they want to hire you and they want to interview you, you have to travel all the way. You travel a very long distance to go for an interview. But now COVID has taught us that right in the comfort of your home, you can be interviewed. All right? So I remember when COVID came and we went into the first lockdown here in Botswana. I'm telling you, I saw that I had an advantage over other people because I had taught myself technology. I'm a curious person. I always love to learn new things, even though my background is not technical. So when we went into the lockdown, I interviewed people in my life more than ever before, putting the videos on YouTube, interviewing entrepreneurs, interviewing people who are successful in business, interviewing people who are making waves in their industry, and sharing it with the rest of the world. I derived so much joy doing that. I did so many videos motivating people and encouraging people on Facebook. I was putting on Instagram. I was putting some on LinkedIn, but mainly it was YouTube. I was able to touch quite a lot of lives. And I remember one of the times I was interviewing a multi-millionaire, and as we were talking, he told me that, you know what, I've crossed 60, but what I've done is I'm no longer a visitor to technology. I'm now a citizen of technology. I said, wow, he has become a citizen of technology. Look, we have no excuse whatsoever. The other time I remember, we organized a seminar, I think it was 2 months ago, and we invited 3 speakers to come and speak. One of them is a renowned consultant. We had called him before to speak. He's a good guy. But on the day of the seminar, early in the morning, he sends me a message and he said, Dr. Mutoko, I'm so sorry to let you know that my internet is not stable. I'm like, okay. As I'm trying to understand that, he says, look, it will be my first time to present on Zoom. Oh, finish. It's his first time to present on Zoom. And there was nobody in the office. We had to quickly make an arrangement because I was attending the seminar from home. Many of my colleagues were attending from home. And this guy is presenting and he doesn't have good internet. And also he has problems that he has never presented on Zoom. To cut the long story short, 2 of my colleagues had to rush to the office and help him to present from our office. What happened to him? I can't blame him. And I will not blame anybody. But what I'm saying is we need to move with the times. In these days that we are in, if you do not have good internet, invest in good internet. If you don't have good lighting, you need to invest in good lighting. Not only that, if you do not have good gadgets that produce a good video, then it's difficult for the world to judge you and say you are a good speaker. Gone are the days where you could say, you know what, because I am very audible, I have good gestures, I'm very funny, people like the way I do things. It's not enough. Imagine you are invited to speak in a place, and as you are speaking, your internet cuts off. The next time you are invited again, your internet cuts off, or you are not showing very well, and people will not invite you again. So the quality of you as a speaker from now going onwards includes investing in a very good studio, investing in good lighting, investing in good equipment, making sure that you know how to present online. For others, you can let your grandchildren or your children help you, your friends help you. In some cases, get mentors to mentor you in terms of creativity and innovation. Friends, technology is the way to go, and we have to take it very serious. The second thing is networking. You cannot play with networking. In these days that we are, you need to ask yourself, since the beginning of the month, since the beginning of the year, how many new contacts have I gotten? How many useful networks for my business have I got? How many of us are on LinkedIn? Let me just see. Just say yes. You can just type in the chat box quickly. Just say yes, 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 yes. Those of you who are on LinkedIn, I see one says yes. Others? Let's go. Yes, yes, yes. I see quite a number of people saying yes. Please, if you are not on LinkedIn, this is your chance. Create a profile on LinkedIn. Not only that, get some recommendations from other people. Get some recommendations. You need to stand out. I can't emphasize this enough. There is a project I'm doing right now for a certain government. If I tell you how it came about, it was 3 years ago. When a man saw me, he is in the UK, he sees me on LinkedIn, he goes through my profile, he is impressed with my profile, he reaches out to me and he says, can we do 2 seminars together in Botswana? I'm like, how can somebody in the UK want to do a seminar with me here in Botswana? I didn't quite understand, but we went ahead, we did the 2 seminars, we shared the profits. I was surprised. And at that seminar, where this man from UK was, that's where his friend also came, who was from another country. And we connected with this guy. That's networking. And we kept in contact. as time goes on, we keep talking. Then the next thing he says, hey, we have a change management project that we need to for the government of this country. Can we join hands? We are joining hands. You get business through networking. You have to sharpen your networking skills. If there is anything you need to do, apart from technology, you need to sharpen your networking skills. Don't just be on LinkedIn. Don't just be on Instagram. Don't just be on YouTube. Are you networking? Are you talking to the people? Are you adding value? Gone are the days where you just send messages anyhow to everybody. You need to network, and you need to consider your network to be important. Thank you so much. My time is up, and it's time for questions. I appreciate your contributions. I appreciate you listening to the presentation. I don't know whether there are any questions for me.
Thank you, Wilbert. That was absolutely super. Let me just thank you for that. That was inspirational, informative, lovely. What I really grasped out of that was to regenerate yourself, and that is a key to many things. Businesses are finding this as essential, that they regenerate themselves because their product, their methodology becomes out of date. They need to regenerate themselves, and that's an essential thing. So thank you, Wilbert, for joining us at Florida Toastmasters tonight. Please stay till the end of the meeting. We'd love to have you with us. But thanks again.